Welcome to episode 13 of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124. Today's episode is about the 1985 U.S.-Canada tornado outbreak that occurred on May 31st, 1985. And if you know how math works, that is 28 years before May 31st, 2013. And coincidentally, both of these tornado outbreaks occurred on a Friday, on a May 31st, 28 years apart. However, not in the same location. For some people, they're cheering with joy. So this outbreak is referred to as the Barrie tornado outbreak in Canada. It was a major tornado outbreak that occurred in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and Ontario on May 31st, 1985. In all, 44 tornadoes were counted, including 14 in Ontario, Canada. It is the largest and most intense tornado outbreak to ever hit this region, and the worst tornado outbreak in Pennsylvania history in terms of death and destruction. Here's your meteorological synopsis, and then we'll get to the tornadoes. The upper air pattern was conducive for a major severe weather event in the Great Lakes that Friday, May 31st. An unseasonably deep low-pressure system at 984 millibars crossed out of the midwestern U.S. through the day, and then into the upper peninsula of Michigan. Excuse my watch, it's being annoying. Very warm air surged in ahead of the system. Temperatures reached into the upper 20s in Celsius, approximately 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, across much of southern Ontario. In addition to high dew point levels, an unstable atmosphere, surface-based lifted indices around -6 were the byproduct of this. Directional wind shear was also present in the warm sector of the storm, in addition to high helicity values and a vorticity maximum approaching the lower lakes. Now you can read the rest of this. I'm not going to bother reading through this because there's a lot, and I like to keep these videos short. So, let's go to the tornadoes in the outbreak. None unrated. I don't know what I said. None unrated because I believe that rating thing was used starting in like 2018 or something. I don't know. But there were 4 F0s, 12 F1s, 7 F2s, 12 F3s, 8 F4s, and unfortunately 1 F5 for a total of 44 tornadoes. Now here's your list of tornadoes here. There were a lot of long-tracked ones as well. Here's your F5 one. It was on the ground for 47 miles. It caused 18 deaths. And that is it for all the tornadoes in the outbreak. So let's go back to here. Here's your storm timeline and aftermath. The outbreak, for the U.S. I should say. The outbreak lasted from roughly 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, when the first tornado touched down in Wyerton, Ontario, until just after midnight Eastern Daylight Time on June 1st, when the last reported tornado struck Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania. The peak of the outbreak took place during the early evening hours, where the strongest and deadliest tornadoes formed across western Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio. The first of 2 F4 tornadoes to affect Erie County touched down just west of the Pennsylvania state line around 5 p.m. The tornado moved across the northwestern tip of Crawford County and entered Erie County near Pennside. After causing considerable damage there, the tornado slammed into Albion, a town, leveling the entire town. Sounds like Greensburg. A 10-block area was completely destroyed, with 9 people being killed. The tornado killed 3 more people in Cranesville before lifting. There were also 82 injuries and a total of 309 destroyed buildings. The second F4 to affect Erie County touched down between Wattsburg and Corry in eastern Erie County. It clipped the northwestern tip of Warren County before crossing into New York, where it did some damage in Chautauqua County before dissipating near Panama. This tornado stayed on the ground for 28 miles, but fortunately resulted in no fatalities. The most famous tornado of this outbreak touched down in Portage County, Ohio, near the Ravenna National Guard Armory at around 6:30 p.m. and cut a 47-mile-long path through Newton Falls, Niles, and Hubbard, Ohio, before entering Pennsylvania. This was the only F5 in the United States in 1985 and the deadliest Ohio tornado since the Xenia F5 during the 1974 super outbreak. We have a video on that. I don't know who we is, it's just me that makes these videos, so. 90 people were killed in the outbreak in the U.S. and Canada, the most for an outbreak since the 74 super outbreak, and a mark that stood until the 2011 super outbreak. It was the third costliest tornado outbreak in the history of the U.S., where it caused $600 million in 2010 dollars. Where it caused $600 million in damage in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. It was also one of the costliest in Canada, an estimated $400 million in U.S. money. The damage would total nearly $1 billion in 2010 money. So I'm gonna read up to here. Who cares? I may read the entire thing. This extremely violent tornado began. This is the Wheatland, Pennsylvania F5 one. This extremely violent tornado began in eastern Ohio and tore directly through the towns of Niles, Ohio, and Wheatland, Pennsylvania, producing F5 damage at both locations. The tornado killed 18 and injured 310, and was the most violent and deadly of the 44 recorded that day. Registering F5 on the Fujita scale, remains the only F5 in Pennsylvania history to this day, and was the most violent tornado reported in the U.S. in 1985. It first touched down in Ohio near the Ravenna Arsenal, it's that National Guard armory, in Portage County around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Gathering strength, it moved quickly into Newton Falls and Trumbull County, causing F3 to F4 damage through much of the town. While nearly 400 homes were heavily damaged or destroyed, no fatalities were recorded in Newton Falls due to storm preparedness of local authorities and its tornado siren. Additional homes were completely destroyed as the tornado struck the north side of Lordstown. Continuing east, the tornado reached F5 intensity as it tore through the north side of Niles. Hundreds of homes in the Niles area were destroyed, including several homes with anchor bolts that were swept away with the debris scattered downwind. The Niles Park Plaza shopping center was completely leveled and partially swept away at F5 intensity. Here's a picture of that. Where were we? With several of the fatalities occurring at that location. Steel grinders were buckled at the shopping center, and a nearby retirement home and a skating rink were leveled as well. As the tornado struck the industrial area in Niles, large 30-foot tall metal petroleum storage tanks, each weighing about 75,000 pounds, were torn from where they were anchored and thrown. Some of which were tossed or bounced considerable distances. One of the tanks was found in the middle of a road 60 yards from where it originated. Wow. The tornado weakened slightly as it tore through the north side of Hubbard and through the center of Colberg, though many additional homes were still leveled in those areas. As the tornado crossed the state line and reached Wheatland, Pennsylvania, it was a half-mile wide F5 tornado as it had regained its strength. A steel frame trucking plant in Wheatland was obliterated and partially swept away at F5 intensity, as the building steel grinder frame was mangled into a pile and pushed off the foundation. At nearby Wheatland, Sheet and Tube, I'm not sure what that is. Sounds like a gas station at an oil change place. I don't know. Sections of pavement were scoured from the parking lot, and shards of sheet metal and routing slips were left wedged beneath the remaining asphalt. 95% of Wheatland's businesses and residential area were destroyed. That is eerily similar to Greensburg, Kansas, which we will get to in months. According to storm data from the National Weather Service, the destruction of the town resembled that of a bombed-out battlefield, quote-unquote. Continuing east, the tornado weakened slightly, but remained violent as it struck Hermitage, damaging or destroying 71 homes along with the town's airport, destroying several hangars and airplanes. A wing from one of the planes was found 10 miles away in Mercer. Another trucking steel processing plant was heavily damaged in Hermitage as well. The tornado then destroyed 15 homes and damaged 30 others in the Greenfield area before finally dissipating. Like I previously mentioned, it was the deadliest tornado in Ohio history since the Xenia F5 of April 3rd, 1974. That tornado was also captured by several residents, meaning the Xenia tornado was. Here's some other U.S. tornadoes I don't feel like bothering to read because that's a lot, and I just read all that. Here's the tornado in Canada, the one with the article. Here's its story. Here's that. Here's a fun fact for the Ontario part of the outbreak. An F1 tornado touched down far to the east of the other twisters from that day at around 8:10 p.m. near Gripen Lake, about 35 kilometers northeast of Kingston, Ontario. This makes it a 14th lost and found tornado, quote unquote. So, that is it for episode 13 of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124, I think. I hope it's episode 13, otherwise, oh well. I ain't redoing this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.